we talk about the work being two paths, two kind of, streams, but it's really three or more. And the first is to resolve or clear what limits us in our life, in our experience, our beliefs, that kind of thing. The old stuff that's unresolved lives in our body, right? The nervous system. Doesn't our body kind of remember pain? Like when old hurts happen? We might have the memory in our mind, but if we don't have a charge in our body, it doesn't really affect us, right? So we need to clear the charge in the body. So that's one of the paths, is to resolve the past that lives in our body. That shows up in the mind, but it really lives in the body. And that's a piece I think a lot of paths miss, right? They try to do the mental, right? I'm going to try to figure it out in the mind and understand what happened. I say I forgive so-and-so, or I release that old thing, or whatever. That was a long time ago. Yeah, but does that really work? We've tried that, right? Doesn't always work, does it? And then the other two paths would be to, we uncreate what we don't want, and then to create or manifest what we do want, right? Don't you guys have things that you want to create, things you want to be doing? Maybe it's not showing up. Maybe money is nice to have, right? Resources, good grades, life experience. We want to create what we're here to do, maybe what lives in our heart. That's what we like to say. It's already there, right? You kind of know. Even though you might not know intellectually, you know. Your body knows. It's like when you meet your soulmate or that person, you're like, you can feel it in your heart. And then the third of the three kind of paths, we call it, is to wake up. Now, what does that mean? If you have to ask, you might not know what it means. If you don't have to ask, you already know what it means, and you're probably already doing that. Maybe having glimpses. Does anybody know what I mean by waking up? Yeah, being in the moment, like the Buddha, right? Or Krishna nature, Christ consciousness, whatever you want to call that. And to me, if we don't have these three things lined up, our life doesn't really have the depth that it feels like we came here to have, the experience we came here to have. And so we work on those three things. We create an invitation for the waking up consistently. So I'll ask you things, I'll say things, and it's all designed toward that beautiful awakening. And the other two really are, we use some techniques that we have to help you reset the past, to clear what's in the body, what we remember. Now, if just face value, you want to get to point B, what do you feel is the most important step in order to get to point B? Let's say we want to go to New York City. What's the most important thing? The very first thing we need to do if we want to get to New York City. What do you feel that is?
Where you are.
Where are you now, right? How many people really want to surrender or experience where they are? Almost nobody, right? We're trying to get out of where we are, right? Where we are doesn't feel good. This relationship or, this chronic pain or this stress at work or whatever it is. And the paradox is, because they don't want to be here, they never receive the higher intelligence or guidance to get there, right? They never resolve what they carry here, because to get there is really quite simple, right? That monarch butterfly, you guys know, you've all heard that story, right? And how they get to that little island, they travel 3,000 or 5,000 miles in the wind. Can you imagine your butterfly? You can probably do 2 miles an hour in a freaking headwind of 10 miles an hour. Now what do, right? They don't have a GPS, right? They don't have one of those TomToms or an iPhone. They don't know, but something inside them, there's an intelligence that knows how to get to this island so they can mate, so they can, have offspring. And this has gone on for, I don't know how long, maybe 10,000 years, maybe 100,000 years, I don't know. The point is there's an intelligence in us that knows how to get to New York, right? We know, we have resources. We do have a map, right? We do have a phone or whatever. But if I don't know where I am, good luck getting to New York. And that's the one piece most humans miss. Why don't we want to see where we are?
Too painful.
It doesn't feel good. It's too painful. I want this beautiful relationship. People come to me all the time. I want to have this. I want to find my soulmate, right? I want to have this great experience. I'm like, that's awesome. Let's do it. Where are you now? Right? And they unplug. They get all, I see the glazed look, right? And the reality is they don't trust men or women, right? Or they've been burned in the past, or they've been let down, or they saw their parents fight all the time and they made a vow, I'll never be like that, right? And so they say they want to find their soulmate, but their body's saying something different. And they don't want to feel or handle where they are. That's the biggest piece of all. So luckily, we don't have to kind of figure out how to get to New York and do every little thing. We can tune in, and all of a sudden, these things can show up for us. But we do need to handle where we are. And that seems so obvious, right? It is obvious. But as we said, not many people want to feel what they feel, or own the experience of where they are. You know, we say it's kind of like eating a bad meal. Right? Didn't even taste good on the way down. Who wants to throw up that bad meal? Right? But that's kind of what we do. We got to throw up this old childhood stuff. That sounds kind of gross. Who wants to do that, right? But we don't have to throw it up. I'm kind of kidding. But let's clean it up. Let's reset what it is. Does that sound like a good idea?